Hey, it's where your project gets started.
Tim and Bob's Wild Adventure. So we've been working hard in the garage, building some stuff. With some wood.
One of us has.
And, well, yeah, you be the judge.
Hey,
Who's been working?
You did some sanding.
Some would say that sanding is the hardest
All
part
right,
of the
so
job.
hi, welcome back to the channel. We have another DIY build today for you. We're building a bar table, right? This is my friend Matt. Say hi, Matt.
Picture time. Picture time. Hi, I'm Matt. Picture time. Just subliminal. If anybody wants to check out the other videos.
Right.
Picture time.
We built some barn doors together, and now we're building a bar table for the same room in your house, right? You have the couch that goes in the basement there.
Pretty much,
the
there's
TV.
a wall, and the couch creates an island. We're going to build the drink ledge, but then we got creative. The drink ledge is also going to be a place you can put bar stools. You can lean on, do homework, watch a movie, watch a game.
You can have guys over watch the game, gals too.
Yep.
And you have something placed
Gals.
to put gals and guys put drinks on the bar table.
Yep.
But you didn't want just a 10-foot by 18-inch bar table.
Nope.
You had to get creative.
We wanted 10 foot because that's the length of the island behind the couch. But then we wanted to say, what would happen if we took two parts of those and brought it together so it was like a puzzle table? And what if we separated both of those so we could have separate pods?
Yeah.
So it's a multi-versatile table.
Yep, so we designed, good thing to start with some design now. Our measurements are for a 10-foot long table by an 18-inch deep table. You can adjust your measurements however you want. If you only wanted 8 feet or whatever, we just made basically two tables that would fit together. And ours is 10 foot long, so we have two 5-foot by 18-inch table tops. We were able to find this pre-glued pine tabletop at Menards. Local.
Menards isn't everywhere though.
It isn't. So your local home improvement store, right? And you could, on a table saw, you could take a 1x12 and cut it and build your own tabletop. This one was already cut and already pre-glued. But it was 36 inches by 6 feet. We wanted 18 inches by 5. So we split it down the center.
Saved us some time.
Few
bucks.
And we cut it down the center, and then I cut it at 5 feet. So now I have two tabletops that are 18 inches wide by 5 feet long.
Now I wanted to get crazy. I wanted to have like metal legs. Jeff talked me out of it. We went with 4x4s.
So we're using 4x4, just regular white pine.
It's a nice sand job.
And yeah, you sanded that beautifully. So, and we want the tabletop at about 38-inch height, 37.5, 38 inch. So we cut these at 37 inches in length, and one of those is going to go on each corner. But then in the middle of the table where the two sections meet, I wanted another post in the middle. So we're going to put a 2x4 on the edge of one table and on the edge of the other table. And when the two tables are together,
4x4.
We've got another 4x4, right? So the table will look like it has 3 sets of 4x4 legs.
Yep.
Then we're going to frame in the 4x4s and 2x4s with just 1x4 pine. We were going to do 2x4s, but then we thought that would just be too thick and chunky. So you could buy 1x4s like this in 10 to 12 foot lengths. We actually, it was New Year's Day, and the only store open was Fleet Farm. So I went to Fleet Farm, they had 1x12s. So I just bought 1x12s and then spun them out on the table saw, cut them at 3¼ inch width by 5 feet.
Yep.
So we've got 5 foot lengths, and then we've got 16¼ inch lengths to cover on the ends.
Yep.
I should show you, we also cut these little 1x1 blocks that will brace underneath the table against the exterior framing so that we can screw up into the tabletop from the bottom, and we won't have any screw holes through the top of the table.
So when we're done, the top will not have any screw holes. And we'll be able to lacquer on top of it to have a waterproof top to it without any imperfection. For materials, we're in about 150 or 175 bucks. Also, one more comment on the 4x4s. The reason we went 37 inches with a 1 inch on top is 38 inches puts us just over the couch. It also leaves room for a 24 to 26 inch bar stool that slides underneath there.
Yeah, perfect. So what we'll do now is we'll show you all the parts and list the cuts that we made for the different parts that we're going to use to assemble the table. And then you can follow along as we put this thing together, and then probably a week or so by the time we get a chance to stain it. You haven't really decided what color you're going to go with, right?
I think we got a few options on your...
Yeah, but obviously with any DIY project, you don't have to choose the same stain we did. You can stain it whatever you want. You could paint it. You can do whatever you want. So follow along. Thanks for watching. We began by cutting all the wood to length and then laying out the wood pieces on top of 2 sawhorses to build one table side at a time. See the list in the description below for all the lengths. We used a drill bit to pre-drill all the holes through the 1x4s to prevent any splitting. We recommend putting a piece of tape or a block around your drill bit to prevent it going through the tabletop. We measured the combined length of the exterior 1x4s, the 4x4 legs, and the blocks that would brace the 4 legs in between that would give us an overhang on the top 3/4 of an inch on all sides except for the side where the 2 tables meet. We then pre-drilled the blocks and screwed them in with 2-inch fasteners so that the fasteners would not penetrate the tabletop. On the side of the table where the 2 tables meet, we ran the legs and the exterior pieces flush so they would meet in the middle without a gap. We then screwed the 4x4 legs in with 3.5-inch fasteners. We also staggered the holes on the outside so that our screws or our fasteners wouldn't hit when we screwed them into the leg. We then affixed the 2x4s, cut to 37 inches in length, to the end of the table where the 2 tables would meet. We braced in between those with an extra piece of tabletop cut to 7 3/4 inches, and also a 2x2 brace that would screw into that end piece and also into the tabletop. We also braced the outside framing in the center with another block cut at 7 3/4 inches. We then flipped the table over and affixed the footrail. We marked a line 1 foot above the floor and then affixed our pieces around the legs. This added rigidity and structural support, but also a nice looking footrail. After the first table was complete, we tested it with a stool to make sure everything looked good and moved on to the second half. We basically repeated the exact same process in reverse on the second table. It's very critical that you get your edge-to-edge measurements exact so that when you put the 2 tables together, everything meets up nicely. If you're slightly off, the tabletops may not meet perfectly. We used a hand planer and a belt sander to smooth out the edges on both sides so that the tables fit together perfectly. We then affixed removable pin hinges 3 inches in size under the tabletop and at the base of the footrail on each side of the tables. Removing the pins allows you to easily separate the 2 tables. We then moved the table over to Matt's house and he began the refinishing process. Oh, who's Henley? Peek! So we're back here at Matt's house. You've been pretty busy over the last week.
Yeah, it's kind of stinky in here because we used our basement to finish this beast off.
The smell has almost no side effects.
No, none. No, I'm feeling really happy. The goal was to match this table 1 year removed from those barn doors, which you did another video on. And my wife had a formula is what she used. First, she wanted to allow this substance to permeate the pine, part lacquer and 4 parts denatured alcohol.
That kind of, it's a pre-treatment for the
wood. Yep, a lot of ways you can do it.
Yep, and it's not a completely required step on the barn doors we did at the house. We just used stain.
Yep.
And then you did a blend of stains to get the color that you were looking to go for.
Started with an early American for this color. First round through, just put it on with a brush, wiped it off with a staining pad, left it sit for 4 to 6 hours, so it was great and dry, and then came back with this. We used classic gray. Again, put it on the top, let it sit for just a little bit, and then wiped it off, and then we ended up with this great color. That sat for another 4 to 6 hours, hit it with a sander again, and then we went in with this, which was recommended at Home Depot, is a spar urethane, which gives it a UV coating if you're close to anything that's got light, and it seals it so if you've got drinks on here that it won't permeate and stain it.
And it's a satin finish. You can go with, you know, gloss, semi-gloss, or satin. This is more of a matte. It's called a satin finish. It's real silky finish. It's got a little sheen to it, but not too shiny.
Turned out great.
Really, really looks good. And we're in the party configuration.
Party configuration. Hold on 5 coats on the top layer, and then I did a single coat of the satin seal on the outside layers.
On the legs. Yeah. Great. It really looks good. One other thing we did was we got some C-clamps at Harbor Freight, and you now can clamp the table together.
Yep.
So there'll be no marks on the outside of the framing when the table's in its 10-foot configuration. One other thing we wanted to say is we found this little bottle opener. We're like, that's got to go.
Show the feature.
table.
Go show the feature.
Yeah, the bottle opener, we'll put that on the edge of the table, so when you guys are down here with the drinks, you can crack open a root beer with the kids.
It's a nice $4 ad.
Yes, right. And the other thing too is we wanted to show you that when we framed the foot rail around the outside, we weren't quite sure what we were going to do with the foot rail on the inside of the table. So we just cut another piece that was just a little bit shorter and put that on the inside, and I think it finishes it off really nice.
Yep. Yeah, and of course, when you're doing the party configuration, pull those two tables together with the foot rail facing in. And then I want to do a little call out of the functionality of this beast, because guess what? If you're like me, not everything's perfect when it aligns. You might be a 1/16 of an inch off. So my wife loves doing puzzles. We just throw down the felt here, throw down some puzzles, and you're ready to go.
One of the other things we did too is we drilled 4 holes into the 4x4 posts. So when the table was apart, we had a place to put the 4 pins for the hinges. Well, we want to thank you guys for watching and for joining us on this project. You know, we do a lot of things on this channel to try and make memories as a family. Did you just try and drill my ear?
Yeah, I thought there might be something.
Well, it's probably got a little peanut butter. A little leftover from breakfast. Yeah. We try and make memories as a family. We try and do it on a budget. I mean, I think the total cost of this table is just about under $200. Obviously, you can change that a little bit by how much you spend putting the finish on it. But we hope you enjoyed watching us. Join us again, and we'll see you again soon.